So sensorimotor OCD is also called the body-focused OCD, and people suffering from it usually have a hyperfixation, a hyper-awareness on body functions, which usually are unconscious to people, but for them, they have a persistent awareness of it, an inability to shift their focus away from it, and that causes distress, ultimately kickstarting the sensorimotor OCD cycle. Sensorimotor OCD is personal to me. Many people are suffering from it, but they just don't get the proper treatment, which really helps to recover from it. Our healthcare system does not have a lot of specialists out there who really understand the uniqueness of it, and therefore treating or treatment options are very limited. This is why I wanted to specialize it and offer people exactly what's needed to kickstart their recovery journey and to take over control, to master their sensorimotor OCD, and to also find people who truly know what they're going through and connect with experts in a way that they get the proper support and the guidance needed. Common challenges for people suffering from sensorimotor OCD is that most of the time when they open up about it, they're being misunderstood. They will get responses such as, "What do you mean? Why do you even think about it? Just distract yourself. Why do you think breathing is bad? Everyone needs to breathe." So that's not really helpful. Also, doctors, when we look at healthcare, they might not have the required knowledge. They might even misdiagnose people with sensorimotor OCD and offer them different treatment or prescribing them medication such as SSRI, which is actually a medication helping people with depression and anxiety. It might alleviate some of the symptoms which come from and with sensorimotor OCD, but is not really tackling the root cause. Also, the number one treatment recommendation for sensorimotor OCD is ERP, which is the golden standard for regular OCD. And ERP means exposure response prevention, very technical. Maybe by use of an example, if you were to suffer from regular OCD and you have an anxiety about touching doorknobs because there might be germs on them, and germs will lead ultimately to you becoming sick. So your obsession is not to become sick and prevent yourself from getting germs on your hands, which then leads to a compulsion, washing your hands repeatedly, or even not touching the doorknob entirely, so avoiding touching doorknobs. In an ERP setup, you would be asked to touch the doorknob and prevent engaging in compulsion, which means you won't be able to wash your hands. You have to endure touching the doorknob, touching your face with your hands, having germs on it. But by sitting with the anxiety, that helps to alleviate the compulsion or the need for compulsion. So it's a bit of a behavioral change, but also it's sitting with the fear and enduring what actually is feared of the obsession. Now, with sensorimotor OCD, that doesn't translate easily, because what you do, for instance, if you are scared of your own breathing, you're scared of the hyperfixation on your breathing, then most of the time people don't really feel a relief. They don't have washing hands. It's oftentimes they do engage in reassuring techniques or trying to counteract the fear and anxiety. They might reach out and they might think, okay, I have to breathe. It's normal to breathe. It doesn't quite tackle the prevention, and it doesn't quite tackle the possible relief. So ERP is not as useful to take care of sensorimotor OCD, especially also when we look at the exposure part. You breathe all the time. You can't actively expose yourself to breathing. So that technique is in itself a bit complicated, but also is not meeting the requirements where we can really anchor and tackle the root cause of sensorimotor OCD. What we've learned is that by using cognitive strategies, which A, take care of the uniqueness of the OCD brain, but B, also helps to reprogram and rewire the brain, that this is way more efficient than the ERP or even cognitive behavioral therapy strategies where you engage in meditation or awareness. Those things pay way too much focus on the introspection of those people who already have a lot of introspection. So we actually think that those can contribute to a worse situation than before. For the Be Free Freedom module, which is our module around sensorimotor OCD, we created a methodology which is called the Be Free Trick and Treat methodology. And this methodology is designed in a way that it combines science-based techniques, also cognitive strategies, but it also incorporates those things which have proven to be successful in treating regular OCD. And all of that we actually fed into the methodology which we now use in our program. The methodology can be learned relatively quickly. However, it's important that people also get a deeper understanding of the neurobiology of the brain, but also the uniqueness of the disorder and especially their own personality. Now, this is why we created a 3-month program where people not only learn the skill set and the tools required, but they also have an expert guiding them through the journey and being a support system, helping them understand all of those things and develop a better and deeper understanding, which is required to recover from sensorimotor OCD. In our 3-month program, we offer expert connections, which are one-on-one sessions. We have different materials where we are able to provide knowledge transfer, but also exercises where people can reflect on the knowledge and also get a deeper understanding of what that really means for them. It's crucial to meet them where they currently are, because most of people suffering from sensorimotor OCD also have issues with comorbidities, which can be anxiety or depression, oftentimes regular OCD. And therefore, what we need to achieve in the program is to meet them where they are, to understand their headspace. And only then can we slowly start to untangle and start the treatment, start the recovery journey, start the training sessions, and the knowledge transfer, which is required. So it's a difficult area for people to be in, and that's where we try to get the best support needed to take them one step further at a time. And with the portfolio we have, it can be designed and tailored to each individual. Reserve enough time together with the client to go through it, to practice it, to truly understand it, and to make it theirs. As always, I recommend reaching out sooner than later. If you are struggling with sensorimotor OCD, then every additional day of suffering is unnecessary. I want you to know that this is a mental disorder which won't go away if you don't tackle it head on. If you're already in contact with experts, may that be psychiatrists or specialized experts and coaches, then ask their tough questions. Ask them, how does their treatment differ from regular OCD? What is it that differentiates the methods and tools provided from CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, and also ERP? What is the clear instruction they can give you? And how will they support you through this? So giving you a clear sense of direction and transparency, but also you need to feel a connection which makes sense to you, that you can trust this person. And I think those are very important things to recover, and also to start getting back in control and to master your own life. And of course, if you don't yet reached out to someone, if you haven't found anyone, to connect with us today.